Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Caritāmrta class. Thank you for joining. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Nittam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Chaitanya Charitāmrta, Madhya lila. We are on chapter 12, the cleaning of Gundisha temple. So far, we have discussed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after he returns from South India. He had conversation and meeting with so many devotees who had come from Bengal. Every year from then on, whenever this Rath Yatra would be happening, all the devotees would come. So this time they came because Mahaprabhu had returned after many years. After 2 years of travel, he had returned back. So all the devotees they had come, Ramanandra and all the other devotees they came, and Mahaprabhu had wonderful conversation with all the devotees. And we discussed, we heard the wonderful dealings that Mahaprabhu had with many of the devotees. In this way, Mahaprabhu spent time doing Beda Kirtan. He would call, he would make 4 groups, and around the temple of Jagannath, they would dance. Mahaprabhu would expand. Mahaprabhu would be in the center, and all the 4 Kirtan parties around. Mahaprabhu performed this wonderful pastime of being able to see all the devotees, all the 4 Kirtan parties simultaneously, just like Krishna would perform his pastime when he would go to Vrindavan. Every cowherd boy would feel that that Krishna is looking at him only. So that's how Mahaprabhu performed wonderful pastimes. So now in the 12th chapter, we are hearing the devotees. They are really eager that Mahaprabhu shows mercy to Prataprudra Maharaj. Because Prataprudra Maharaj was in intense anxiety. He wanted to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all the devotees, they were really working hard. They were thinking how to make this wish of Prataprudra Maharaj fulfilled. And king, earlier also it had come, he had sent a letter to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Again, he sent a letter to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Prataprudra Maharaj, he wrote that all of you are so very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If all the devotees, they make request on my behalf, then Mahaprabhu would definitely show mercy. So Prataprudra Maharaj is really surrendering himself to the lotus feet of all the devotees. He knows that without the mercy of devotees, we cannot get mercy of Krishna. ज्ञानावलंबका केचित् केचित् कर्मावलंबका वयम तु हरिदासानां पादत्राणावलंबका. Some people depend on jnana, some people depend on karma, but as far as we are concerned, vayam tu haridasanam padatranavalambaka. We are depending on the mercy of the devotees. So Pratapruta Maharaj was really eager to get darshan and mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and for that he is depending on devotees. And he tells, Yadi more kripana koribe gaur hari rajya chhadi yogi hoibo bhikari. Says if Mahaprabhu doesn't show me mercy, I'll give up all my kingdom and I'll become a beggar. That was the mood of Prataprudra Maharaj. Bhattacharya was astonished to receive this letter. He was really anxious. If king leaves, what will happen to the kingdom? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya goes and meets all the devotees and tells the situation of Prataprudra Maharaj. All the devotees were shocked. Patri dekhi sabar mane hoila vismay Prabhu pade gajapati raito bhakti hoy. They were thinking, it is so very astonishing that this king has developed such intense devotion unto lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have to do something. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told that, well, we should go once again to the Lord, and this time, what we should do? We should not tell directly that you meet the king. We should glorify the king in front of Lord. So all of them, they were happy to hear this. They agreed. All of them, they went to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as they came in front of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, nobody could speak even a word. They were very fearful. Because earlier also Mahaprabhu had told, if you tell me anything about this again, I'll leave this place, I'll go to Allah. Mahaprabhu could see that, okay, all of you have come for something. You want to say something, but you are not saying what is the reason. So we have discussed till verse number 17. In verse number 18, Nityanand Prabhu, he speaks. Yes, we want to tell you something, and we don't know if it is right or wrong, but we are very afraid to speak that in front of you. The matter is, he says, unless the king sees you, he will become a mendicant. And Nityanand Prabhu, he continues, he tells what was the mood, what was the mind of Prataprudra Maharaj. Kane mudralai moi hoiba bhikhari rajya bhoga nahi chitte vina gaur hari. So Prataprudra Maharaj had written this also, that I'll become a mendicant. And a typical sign of mendicant in those times were, the mendicant would have his ears pierced, and they would wear ivory rings, earrings. That was sign of a mendicant. And Srila Prabhupada writes, and Prataprudra says, Raj bhog nahe chitte vina gaurahari. If I can't get the mercy of Lord Gaurahari, what's the use of this kingdom? Raj bhog chitte nahe. I don't want to enjoy this kingdom. Intense detachment. Earlier also we had heard Prataprudra Maharaj had told that यदि सही महाप्रभु ना पाई कृपाधन किवा राज्य किवा देह सब akaran. If Mahaprabhu doesn't show mercy, what is the use of this kingdom? Kiva rajya, kiva deha sab akaran, everything is useless. And there also Prabhupada, he writes, this is symptom of a dridha bhakta, a determined devotee. Dridha nishchay, that defines a devotee. Dridha nishchay. Avashya rakshibe Krishna iti vishwas palan. Whatever may happen, I will definitely overcome this. I will cross the ocean. Whatever problems may happen, whatever difficulties may come in my life, but still I will continue to serve Mahaprabhu. That is the determination of a devotee, which Prataprudra Maharaj is showing here. Srila Prabhupada writes that in the Vedic times, in the previous times, there were class of professional mendicants, and they knew some magical art, some mystical process, and their business was to go and beg from door to door, sometimes pleading, sometimes threatening. And what they would do, these mendicants were called as yogis, or especially sometimes Kanafata yogi. Kanafata means they would pierce their ears and they would wear a ivory ring. And they were not actually bona fide yogis. But Srila Prabhupada writes that Pratap Rudra Maharaj was so depressed that he was ready to become such a yogi. So when a devotee goes through difficulties in life, goes through situations where everything seems hopeless, a devotee may go into such phase of depression, and they may be thinking of doing something which they are not supposed to do. At those situations, a devotee needs the guidance and support of other Vaishnavas. If somebody thinks that, well, I don't need devotees in my life, I can practice bhakti alone. No, they are in illusion. Prabhupada writes in one place. If somebody thinks I can practice bhakti alone, they are in illusion. At every step of our life, we need devotees' help. In our ups, in our downs, we need the association of devotees to share our joys and sorrows. Because the devotees, they can pacify us. They can show us the way. They can give us the right guidance. Srila Prabhupada writes, ordinary men think that the yogi must have an ivory ring in his ear, but this is not the sign of a real yogi. Of course, these are the very old times when such people were very much common. It is not so much common nowadays. So Nityan Prabhu continues. He tells what is the mood of Pratap Rudra Maharaj. देखी बसे मुख चंद्र नयना भरिया धरी बसे पाद padma हृदय तुलिया. So Pratap Rudra Maharaj is thinking, देखी बसे मुख चंद्र नयना भरिया. King has expressed his desire that he wants to behold your beautiful darshan to the full satisfaction, nayana bhariya. And he wants to just put your feet on his head. That is the desire of Pratap Rudra Maharaj. Intense desire of Pratap Rudra Maharaj, and he's really trying his best. This entire section of Pratap Rudra Maharaj's endeavors and efforts to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us so many wonderful intricacies in the life of a devotee, how a devotee should be, how eager, um, how enthusiastic a devotee should be, what should be the mood, how he should try to get mercy of the Lord. Everything is described by the behaviors of Pratap Rudra Maharaj. He is really eager, intense, determined, dependent on devotees, again and again trying. He's not thinking, well, it is not in my destiny, it seems. Even if it is not in my destiny. We have heard in the previous verses, one of the words Pratap Rudra Maharaj says, it seems that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared in this world with a vow that he will deliver everyone but not Pratap Rudra. Pratap Rudra Chari Koribe Jagat Nistar Ei Pratigya Kori Kori Achen Avatar. It seems that is a vow he has taken, but no problem. Tar Pratigya More Nadibe Darshan More Pratigya Taravina Chadiva Jivan. Oh, his vow is he'll not give me mercy. I also take a vow. If I don't get mercy of the Lord, I will give up my life. That is the mood of Rukmini Devi. Yasyangri pankajaraja snapanam mahanto Vanchantyamapatirvatmatamopahatyai Yarhi ambujakshanalabeya bhavat prasadam Jahyama shungrat krishan shatajanmapi syat. After writing 6 verses in her letter, the last verse she is writing, "Oh my Lord, if I don't get your blessing, your mercy, if you don't come and take me, you know what I'm going to do? I'll do tapasya, I'll give up my life. Again, I'll take birth, again, I'll do tapasya, again, I'm ready to give up my life. I'm ready to do this for 100 lifetimes." So that is a devotee. Never gives up. Not in this life, no problem. Because you should always understand by our own endeavor, we can't do anything to purify ourselves. We are helplessly dependent on the mercy of the devotees. That's all. We can't do anything else. And we are helplessly dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, there is no hope for us. If we are not depending on the devotees, if we are not depending on the mercy of the Lord, what can we do by our endeavors? So if somebody thinks I want to go back to spiritual world Goloka in this life, that is a little demanding nature. We cannot even demand. Of course, the devotee aspires that, "Oh, I want to go, but the mood is if Krishna desires, if Krishna shows mercy. Otherwise, who am I? Who am I to go to the Vaikuntha or Goloka? I'll just stay in whatever situation Lord is keeping me. मारो भी राखो भी जो इच्छा तुहार कृष्णदास से प्रति दुआ अधिकार." So Nityan Prabhu is telling the desires of Pratap Rudra. Yadyapi shuniya prabhu komal hoye man tathapi bahire kohe nishthur vachan. Now this is very important, interesting. Yadyapi, although shuniya prabhu komal hoye man. And Mahaprabhu heard such wonderful feelings and emotions of Pratap Rudra Maharaj. He was really happy. His heart melted, softened, but still. Tathapi bahire kohe nishthura vachan. Externally, he is speaking harsh words. So we have to understand in our practice of bhakti, Krishna will definitely test us. Externally, we may feel, well, it seems Krishna is not reciprocating. Krishna is not showing mercy. I'm trying my best. But that's how Krishna is testing us. And we have to always have this in our mind that Krishna is testing us. In those situations, we have to take shelter of devotees, take shelter of Bhagavatam, take shelter of scriptures, Chaitanya Caritāmrta, read, hear, learn from these pastimes, these personalities, the mood of a devotee when apparently a devotee feels that I'm not getting mercy of the Lord. Lord is giving mercy to everyone but not me. Jagay madhaye teho korila uddhar. Pratap Rudra Maharaj told. He has delivered everyone, including Jagay madhaye. But still, he is not giving up hope. And this verse is very important. Yadyapi shuniya prabhu komal hoy man. Mahaprabhu's heart was softened. He is Namo Mahavadanyaya. He wants to give mercy to everyone, but he makes a devotee aware that whatever he or she is receiving, it is not an ordinary thing. To understand the value of what we are receiving, Mahaprabhu tests his devotees. Otherwise, if something is given so easily, it may not, we may not value that. So that is very, very important. Mahaprabhu, he told, yes, I can understand that you all, now this is another very important verse. what Mahaprabhu is saying, I can understand that you all want me to go to Cuttack. You want me to take to Cuttack and see the king? Again, Prabhupada writes, this is another very, very powerful statement which Mahaprabhu is making that shows his mood of compassion. Prabhupada writes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is naturally the reservoir of all kindness. And as soon as he heard the statement made by the king, his heart immediately softened. The Lord was ready to go and meet the king at Cuttack. Lord had already made the mind, although nobody told him that you go and meet the king in Cuttack. On his own, Mahaprabhu is telling, you want me to go to see the king at Cuttack? That means he was ready to do that. Prabhupada writes, actually, it was never expected that the king wanted to see the Lord at his place. No, the king was not expecting this. But externally, in the way of speaking harsh words, Mahaprabhu is really telling what is his. He is ready to go and meet the king at Cuttack. That is how Mahaprabhu is so very merciful. Mahaprabhu continues. What to speak of spiritual advancement? If I meet the king, people will blaspheme me. And what to speak of others? Even Damodar Pandit would chastise me. Damodar Pandit was known for that. He would always correct Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he was a brahmachari, Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi. So Mahaprabhu is making what to speak of others. Are Damodar would chastise me. He would criticize me. I shall not meet the king because if I do so, everybody will criticize and I can meet only if Damodar gives me permission. Again, Prabhupada writes a very wonderful purport. He says, people actually expect a sannyasi to preach and not take part in any social and political affairs. That's the expectation of people in general. Just preach. Don't participate in any social event or political event. That is not the duty of a sannyasi. Prabhupada writes, if a sannyasi is subjected to criticism, his preaching efforts will not be fruitful. So therefore, Mahaprabhu, he wanted to avoid such criticism so that his preaching efforts should not get spoiled. Another thing which Mahaprabhu wants to point out here is Damodar Pandit, he is a brahmachari. And out of his foolishness, Prabhupada writes, out of his foolishness, he is criticizing the Lord, he is correcting the Lord. So in this way, Mahaprabhu is telling one should not correct spiritual master or the Supreme Lord. It's a warning to one and all. Just see, Damodar Pandit will criticize me. Actually, what Mahaprabhu is telling is that Damodar Pandit has no right to criticize me. Who is he? He is a brahmachari. And I'm externally speaking also ashram level sannyasi. And not just sannyasi, he is the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada writes, Lord rendered Damodar Pandit a special favor by warning him to avoid criticizing him any further. A devotee or a disciple should never attempt or criticize the Lord or the representative of the Lord. So he says, Mahaprabhu says, only if Damodar Pandit gives me permission, I'll go. Damodar Pandit, when he hears this, he's there. He understands his mistake. He says, Damodar kohe tumi swatantra Ishwar, kartavya sab tumhara gochar. Oh my Lord, you are independent Lord. What is to be done, what is not to be done, you know everything perfectly. Kartavya sab tumhara gochar. Who am I to tell you? Ami kona shudra jiva tomake vidhi diva. Apani milibe tare taha o dekhiva. I am an insignificant living entity. Ami Shudra Jiva, Tomake Kon Tomake Vidi. How can I give any rules and regulations to you? You are Swatantra Ishwar. And I'll see for sure you will go and meet the king. It is your personal choice. I know that you will meet the king. Raja तुम्हारा स्नेह करे तुम्ही स्नेहवश तार स्नेह करावे तारे परम तुम्हारा परश. You know how I can say this? Because the king loves you and you are controlled by love. एवं संदर्शिता हि अंगा हरिणा भृत्यवश्यता स्ववशेनापि कृष्णेन यस्येदं स ईश्वरं वशे. The Lord manifests all these wonderful pastimes like Damodar Lila to prove to the whole world that Harina Bhrityavashyata. The Lord comes under the control of his devotees. That Supreme Lord is controlling the controllers of the universe. He gets under the control of his devotees. Swavashenapi Krishnena. Yasya idam sa Ishwaram Vashe. Sa Ishwara. All the controllers of the world are under control of Krishna, and Krishna comes under the control of his devotees. Why? Because devotees, they love him. So that is what Damodar Pandit is saying. Raja, tumhare sneh kare. Tumi snehavash. So that definitely you will go and meet him only. No doubt. Because you are controlled by your devotees. You will go, you will touch him, you will give your blessings for sure. यद्यपि ईश्वर तुम्ही परम स्वतंत्र तथापि स्वभावे हौ प्रेम परतंत्र. Although you are Ishwar, you are Swatantra, you are independent, but your behavior, your nature is you are dependent on love, prema paratantra. You are controlled by affection of devotees. That is what Lord tells to Durvasa Muni. He was running everywhere. Ultimately, he reaches Vaikuntha and he says, "Oh my Lord, please save me. Your Sudarshan is chasing me." Lord says, "I can't do anything. Aham bhakta paradhina." Go and ask Ambarish Maharaj. He can only help you. I cannot do anything because you have offended my devotee. Only if my devotee forgives you, there is some hope. Aham bhakta paradhino nahi aswatantra iva dvija sadhuvir grastaridayam bhaktair bhaktajana prayer. I am not independent. I am controlled by devotees. So therefore, he's saying, "Oh, for sure, I know that you will go and meet and show mercy to Prataprudra Maharaj." Now Nityananda Prabhu tells, actually, who is there in the three worlds who can ask you to meet the king? You are supremely independent. But do you know the nature of an attached person? किंतु अनुरागी लोकेर स्वभाव एक है इष्ट न पाइले निज प्राण से छाड़े. किंतु अनुरागी लोकेर स्वभाव एक है. You know the nature of attached men? इष्ट न पाइले. If they don't get their desired thing, prana se chhadai, they are ready to give up their life. And the king has definitely expressed this. Kiva rajya, kiva deha, sava karan. I'll give up my life. I'll give up kingdom. And Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu gives an example. Just look at the example of Brahman Patnis. When Krishna sent his boys to get some food from the Brahmanas who were performing the sacrifice. And Brahmanas, they didn't even acknowledge their request. They were very sad. They returned back and told Krishna how they were rejected by these. Krishna says, "Don't worry, beggars should not become morose on refusals and rejections. Just go and ask Brahman Patnis. They'll give you everything." So they go and ask Brahman Patnis, and they prepared huge bhoga for the sacrifice which was performed by their husbands. And as soon as Krishna, all the friends of Krishna, they asked, That Krishna and Balram are hungry, please give something. Immediately they give everything, although they were chastised by their friend, their brothers, their husbands, their children. निषिध्यमाना पतिभिर्भ्रातृभि बंधुभिः भगवती उत्तम श्लोके दीर्घश्रुत धृताशया. They were opposed. निषिध्य पतिभि भ्रातृभि बंधुभि सुतै. But they still went. Prabhupada writes. Yagyapatnis were very much chastised by their husbands, but they were ready to give up their lives. That is the mood of a devotee. If I don't get Krishna's mercy, I'm ready to go through the hardship and I'll give up my life, but I'll not give up endeavor. That is a devotee. I'll not give up endeavors to serve and please the Lord. Whatever Krishna wants, it will happen, but I will not give up. So then Nityanand Prabhu, after hearing this, he submitted a suggestion. Actually, there's a way out. You need not meet the king. You just send a piece of your cloth so that king will have some hope that he will see you in future. You send your outer garment. Prabhupada writes. The king would understand that Lord was showing mercy to him and he would not take any drastic decision like giving up life or leaving the kingdom. He would continue to serve as a king. The Lord said, okay, well, all of you are learned personalities, you all can do whatever you want. You decide. So Nityanand Prabhu, he went to Govinda and asked for outer cloth of Mahaprabhu. And he sent this outer cloth to Sarvam Bhattacharya. Sarvam Bhattacharya, he sent it to the king. When the king received this outer cloth, he was so very happy and obliged. He started worshipping the outer cloth in the same way as he would worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada writes, this is the conclusion of Vedic literatures. Since the Supreme Lord is absolute, everything connected to the Lord is on the absolute platform. The Diya of the Lord is as worshipable as the Lord. And therefore, the king did not, actually, the king had attained the perfection of devotional service. He did not see any difference between the Tadiya and the Lord. The Lord's clothing, bedding, slippers, ornaments, anything related to the Lord, they are all expansions of Balaram. They are Vishnu expansions. They are same as Lord. They are as worshipable as the Lord. Prabhupada writes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs that just as Krishna is worshipable, the place of Krishna's birth, the abode of Krishna, Vrindavan is also worshipable. Prabhupada quotes this verse, this bhajan, Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan. And in that one line says, Jayo Jayo Vrindavana Vasi Chattajan. All the residents of Vrindavan are also worshipable. So therefore, the Tadiya of the Lord is as worshipable as the Lord. Prabhupada quotes another verse, Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasyaite kathita hyartha prakashante mahatmanaha. All the imports of Vedic literatures are revealed in the heart of a devotee who is worshipping the Lord and worshipping the paraphernalia of the Lord, worshipping the devotees of the Lord in a devotional attitude. Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru. If somebody worships the Lord and the representatives of the Lord in the same way, all the imports of the Vedas are revealed in the heart. Tasyete katstahi artha prakashante mahatmana. Prabhupada quotes another verse spoken by Lord Shiva to Parvati. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam panam tasmat parataram devi diyanam samarchanam. Better than, just like of all the worships, worship of Vishnu is supreme. Even better than worship of the Lord is worshipping the devotees of the Lord, the tadiya of the Lord. So that's how worshipping the paraphernalia of the Lord is equally powerful. Worshipping the devotees of the Lord, it is better than worship of the Lord. Because Krishna himself tells to Arjun, anyone who says they are my devotees, they are not my devotees. ये मे भक्त जना पार्था न मे भक्ताश्च ते जना मद भक्तानाम च ये भक्ता ते मे भक्ततमा मता. One who worships my devotee, he is actually my devotee. Serving my devotees is better. So Prataprudra Maharaj, he is really grateful, obliged. He is worshipping the paraphernalia of the Lord the same way as he would worship the Lord. Again, Prataprudra Maharaj, he is making a request to Ramananda Rai. Kaviraj Goswami continue. Kaviraj Goswami continues that if somebody, when the king returned from Jagannath Puri, from his kingdom to Jagannath Puri, when he came, Prataprudra Maharaj also came with him. And before that, Prataprudra Ramananda Rai came with him. And Ramananda Rai had made a request to Prataprudra Maharaj that actually I want to give up my service. I want to stay with Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve him. Ramananda Rai had accepted the request. With great happiness and satisfaction, he had immediately given the permission. ये तुम्हारा वेतन तुम्ही खाओ से वेतन. Whatever your salary is, that will be your pension. That is the mood of a Vaishnava. He is not thinking, I am not getting mercy of the Lord, I am the king. And he is governor. He is getting mercy of the Lord. He is Shudra. The Vaishnava is always happy seeing other devotee advancing, other devotee getting mercy of the Lord. And that makes the devotee qualified to get the mercy of the Lord. Just by being happy, seeing others advancing in Krishna consciousness, we also advance, although it is very difficult. This simple equation is very difficult to understand in our contaminated consciousness. So the king, he told Ramananda Rai, can you please make a meeting arrangement for me also? I want to meet with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu Mahakripa Korena Tomare More Mili Bare Avashya Sadhibe Tahare. You are going to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu has shown extreme mercy on you. Mahaprabhu Mahakripa Korena Tomare. Please make arrangements so that I can also meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They both returned to Jagannath Puri together. Ramananda Rai, he went to meet with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have heard, without even taking darshan of Lord Jagannath, he first went to meet with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, did you go and take darshan of Jagannath? Ramananda Rai says, actually, it didn't even come to my mind. There, Kaviraj Goswami writes that this is a mood of a Rag Marg. So then Mahaprabhu says, okay, at least now please go and take darshan. Ramananda Rai, he had a project. He had come with a mission. What was the mission? He had to make a meeting. He had to arrange a meeting of Prataprudra with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Ramanand Rai, he was now and then, whenever he would get a chance, he was glorifying the devotional service of King Prataprudra. Was always telling him how ecstatic the king was, how the king was absorbed in love of God. Raja Mantri Ramananda Vyavahare Nipun Raja Priti Kohi Dravaila Prabhuraman Raja Mantri Ramananda Vyavahare Nipun. He was a king, he was a great diplomat, he was a diplomatic minister. He knew how to deal with people, whom to deal, in what sense, in what way. Raj Preeti Kohi Dravaila Prabhurman. So how he used this diplomatic behavior? We may be thinking, well, diplomacy, why we should use diplomacy in Krishna's service? And that too with the Supreme Lord, he is being diplomatic. How can he do so? Prabhupada clarifies this in the purport. Raja Preeti Kohi Dravaila Prabhurman. Again, simply by describing the wonderful devotion and love of King Prataprudra for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he melted the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada writes, a diplomat in the material world knows how to deal with people, especially in political affairs. That's a diplomat. He knows with whom what to speak. A simple person, he speaks anything to anyone. He's straightforward. What a diplomat means, he knows when to speak, what to speak, and to whom it should be spoken. Prabhupada writes, some of the great devotees of the Lord, Ramanand Rai, Raghunath Das Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they were expert in dealing with the kings. They were great diplomats. They were government officers. Raghunath Das Goswami used diplomacy. One time his uncle and father, they had not paid off the taxes. And that time the governor, Muslim governor, he came and he wanted to arrest both of them, but they were not there. They arrested Raghunath Das. And Raghunath, with his sweet voice, sweet words, he convinced this Muslim minister. He said, oh, look, you are like my father's brother. So you are like my, uncle. Sometimes, and you are in relation with my father in a distant way. So sometimes there are, some differences of opinion. It should not be taken seriously. And I'm like your son. In this way, he melted the heart of this government officer. And this Muslim governor, he released Raghunath Das. He said, okay, I can't beat you, I can't punish you, but please tell your father and uncle to pay off the taxes. That was the diplomatic behavior. Prabhupada writes about Sanatan Goswami, how he was put in the jail by Nawab Hussain Shah. And very diplomatically, Sanatan Goswami, he told the guard there, he was a Qazi, he was a Muslim guard. He says, oh, can you please help me? I want to go and make a pilgrimage to Makkah. And if you help me, you will get so much of credits. And I'll give you some gold coins also. He gives lots of gold coins. You just have to tell the king that Sanatan, this Kabir Khas Sakar Malik, went to take bath along with the chains and he drowned himself in Ganga. So Prabhupada writes about that, and then Prabhupada writes, now we see Ramanand Rai, a most confidential devotee of the Lord, diplomatically softens the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. despite the fact that Lord had definitely decided not to meet Prataprudra Maharaj. The diplomacy of Ramananda Rai, entreaties of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and all the other devotees succeeded. And then Prabhupada writes a golden line, very powerful statement. The conclusion is that the diplomacy used in the service of the Lord is the form of devotional service, is a form of devotional service. Only if diplomacy brings one closer to the Lord, then it should be used. It is very, very risky. If we are not mature enough, then we may land up doing diplomacy in all our behaviors, in all our dealings. And then we may lose trust. So diplomacy is like a double-edged sword. If not used properly, it can destroy relations. If it is used properly, it can save relationships. It can bring one closer to Krishna. It requires lots of maturity to use this diplomacy. Otherwise, it can hurt devotees if we are diplomatic in our behavior. So therefore, it is very, very important in devotion, in association of devotees. The best is to be simple. And if needed, we can use diplomacy, but with lots of, we should be very, very careful. Otherwise, if we use it regularly, it will become our second nature. And we'll be diplomatic in all our behaviors. And then we will not please devotees. We will distance ourselves from devotees. We will not be able to make close relation with the devotees. So Ramananda Rai, he was Vyavahari Nipun. This is a Vyavahar, the day-to-day dealings. Our dealing should bring a person closer to Krishna and closer to devotees. If we are using our diplomatic dealings just to get things done, then there is a danger. Here, Ramananda Rai is using diplomacy to bring Prataprudra Maharaj closer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord. He knows the heart of everyone. But he accepted this diplomatic behavior because he also knew that this Prataprudra Maharaj is a genuine devotee, and Ramananda Rai is helping him getting mercy. Ramananda Rai then makes a frank request. Utkanthate Prataprudra nahe rahi bare, Ramananda sadhilena prabhura mili bare. And Prataprudra Maharaj, he was in great anxiety. He could not bear not seeing the Lord. So therefore, Ramananda Rai, by his diplomacy, he arranged for the meeting of the Lord with Prataprudra Maharaj. Ramananda Rai makes a request. Ramananda Prabhu Pai Koila Nivedan, Ek Bare Prabhu Prataprudra Dekha Charan. He says, just once meet Prataprudra Maharaj. Now, and Ramananda Rai makes this request. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives a very strong reply. The same reply which he has given earlier to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also. He says, actually, Ramananda Rai, when you make request, you should make a request which is befitting for a sannyasi. Do you think it is befitting for a sannyasi to meet the king? Rajara milane bhikshukera dui lokanash, paraloka rahud loke kore upahas. If a sannyasi meets the king, Dui Loknash, his both the worlds are destroyed. What to speak of next life and this world also, people will criticize that sannyasi. They'll make fun of that sannyasi. But Ramananda Rai says, oh my Lord, you are a king. You are supreme Lord. You are independent Lord. रामानंद राय कहे तुम्ही स्वतंत्र ईश्वर कारे तुम्हार भय तुम्ही नह परतंत्र रामानंद कहे तुम ईश्वर स्वतंत्र ओ माय लॉर्ड यू आर स्वतंत्र ईश्वर व्हाट फियर यू हैव व्हाई आर यू टेलिंग ऑल दिस हु कैन क्रिटिसाइज यू यू आर नॉट कंट्रोल्ड बाय एनीवन यू आर नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन एनीवन प्रभु कहे आमी मनुष्य आश्रमे सन्यासी काय मनो वाक्य व्यवहारे भयवासी. Now, Mahaprabhu, he would always be in the role of a devotee. He would always present himself a very insignificant living entity. He is doing that again here. He says, Ami Manushya, I am an independent, I am an insignificant human being, and I am in renounced order of life. I am sannyasi. I am not the Supreme Lord. And therefore, I must fear public opinion in three ways. Kai, Mano, Vakya. I should be very careful how I behave, what I speak, and what I think. That is a devotee. A devotee should be beyond any suspicion in the words, in the actions, and of course, that is the highest in the thoughts. One should be very, very honest, truthful, no duplicity, no desire, no secret desire for sense gratification should be cultivated in the mind. That will make a person mithyachari. Kai, mano, vakya, vyavahare, bhayavasi. I fear these three things. I fear public opinion in three ways. And then the famous words was spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shukla vastre mashi bindu vaishena lukaye sannyasi alpa chidra sarva lokagaye. Just like if there is a very clean white cloth and one black dot of ink, how can you hide that? Shukla vastre mashivindu aishi naluga. You cannot hide. If the cloth is very clean, you cannot hide a black spot. Similarly, sannyasi means he is supposed to be all clean in his behavior. Sannyasira alpachidra sarva lok gai. If the general public finds a little fault in the behavior of a sannyasi, they'll spread it like wildfire. It is common. It is common behavior of people. They like to speak about the faults of others. That is natural in this Kali Yuga. Sannyasira alpachitra, anybody who is in the higher position, people are ready to bring that person down. So therefore, the behavior of a devotee should be beyond faults. When Srila Prabhupada he was asked, Swamiji, how do you define your disciples? Oh, my devotees, disciples, they are perfect ladies and gentlemen. He never described devotees as, oh, those who chant 16 rounds, follow regulative principles. He defined them as perfect ladies and gentlemen. That means they are perfect in their behavior. It is very, very important, great responsibility of each and every devotee practicing Krishna consciousness to have a very, very clean character. Otherwise, people, they will not blaspheme and criticize that devotee. They'll criticize Prabhupada. They'll criticize ISKCON. Just say the devotees of ISKCON are doing this. Such disciples of Prabhupada or the followers of Prabhupada are doing this. So therefore, a devotee should be beyond any suspicion. We are presenting a parampara, and it is a great responsibility to present the parampara in a proper way. Personally, we should be very, very honest in our behavior, very clean in our actions, no duplicity. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, people will criticize me. They'll find one fault and they'll just advertise it like wildfire. Ramanandra says, oh my dear Lord, you have delivered so many sinful people. This king is a great devotee. He's not an ordinary Vishai. He's not a sense gratifier. He's a great devotee, my Lord. He is a servitor of the Lord. So Mahaprabhu, when he hears so many requests, he says, okay. He tells another example. You are telling that he is a devotee. But you know what is the problem he has? The word Raja is attached to his name. Yadyapi Pratap Rudra Sarvagunava Tahara Malina Koile Ek Rajanam. Mahaprabhu says, he may be full of all the good qualities. Tathapi Pratap Rudra Sarvagunavan. But all his good qualities are ruined by just one name of Raja. Just like if there is a big pot of pure milk, one drop of liquor is sufficient to contaminate entire milk. Similarly, this King Pratap Rudra has so many wonderful qualities, but this one name Raja is attached to him. That is his font. After telling all this, he says, okay, but still if you are eager for the king to meet me, get his son. Son represents the father. I'll meet the son. I'll not meet the king. And in this way, Mahaprabhu gives some sanction that, okay, please get the son of the king. And then what happened, we'll be discussing in the next class. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody have any questions? Okay, so it seems there are no questions, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Chaitanya Caritāmrta ki jai.